Hi, everyone.
We're Backstreet Boys.
Oh, we really are. Oh,
Which Backstreet Boys?
Backdoor Boys. Just kidding. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Hot Mess Moments, the in-person not live, edition.
The live, not live edition. I love that one.
I am squatting in Beth's beautiful apartment here in New York City.
I have to say, that ass, though. He can do a real squat for a long time, so we're going to see how long he can hold this position like he's playing catcher in baseball, if you know what I mean.
And I'm not even sitting on a chair. I'm just squatting.
That's what I'm saying. You got some squatting muscles, baby.
Oh, baby. We don't even do leg day.
Squats do require legs, though.
Yeah, I'm just unfortunate. I just don't do leg day. Okay. I don't do any day. I don't do the gym. I need to do the gym. Welcome to Hot Mess Moments.
Yes. I'm Beth, also known as Augusta Wind 11. My favorite show is The Nanny, but Dylan has never seen it.
Nope. I'm a bad gay. I'm a bad gay.
No, seriously. This is an education.
Yeah, and my name is Dylan Zahner, also known as 8-Bit Dylan Online, and my favorite show of all time is Lost, but this dummy has never seen it.
No, I've never seen it. I was a lost soul, but I'm slowly finding my way to be found.
Yes, and we are Hot Mess Moments because we're hot messes as we watch these shows, and we decided to share the moments with you.
I find that an insult.
That you're a hot mess?
Yeah, I think that we have a lot of it together, including whatever the fuck's happening with my hair just then. Did you see that? It was like alfalfa.
If for anyone that's watching on video, I love that I'm going to try my best to look up here and not down here.
Oh, all I'm doing is looking down here. But I can stare up there too.
It's so hard. The viewfinder is basically the screen. So I'm
it really is. Ooh. Hold on. We can even maximize the experience, honey.
If you're not watching on video, don't.
Actually, I would suggest if you are normally just a podcast listener, this might be the episode to tune in person.
Yeah.
And by in person, I mean on YouTube
to show up at this apartment right here.
Now Dylan will dox me. I am at 107,022
Boston Lane.
Boston Lane, Chicago. Thank you.
Chicago, yeah. She's in Chicago.
I'm in Chicago. But no. But for those that are wondering, yes, Dylan and I are actually in person.
We are. I hate her.
I know. This is
hated her.
This is where we ask people for help. Get him out of my fucking apartment.
It's true. I just showed up. It's been fun. I have been exploring a bunch around Brooklyn, Chicago, and it's actually been a ton of fun. It's been a blast.
It's been a lot of fun.
And I've come here with my husband, who is currently in this room back here.
Just look at how frizzy my hair really is right now. It's
a moment. It's a hot mess moment.
I'm just gonna sit like this so you don't notice it.
Hi, welcome to Hot Mess Moments.
I want to see if I can get a third chin. Hold on.
Oh my god, I hate you.
For those that are listening, again, sorry, this is the one that you should check out on YouTube.
Yes, but if you don't watch us on YouTube, or if you do, check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Consider leaving us a 5-star review because it helps us out tremendously. And please write us a written review, and we'll call you out if you do. In like a good way, not in a bad way. Unless you leave us a 1-star review, oh, you're dead to me.
Yeah. You're like, giving us a 1-star review, you're worse than Shannon. And you all know how I feel about Shannon.
That's true.
Actually, if you give us a 1-star review, it still helps our algorithm. So I guess that's better than Shannon.
That's true. And like, if you're gonna be a Shannon, at least you're gonna like potentially sleep with Saeed. So like, you have some benefit there. Saeed.
Just like, he has so much potential.
It's true. I don't really understand what they're doing there. We'll get into that though once we talk about Lost.
We will.
So these 2 episodes that we watched today, it was the Nanny episode, I think 18 or 19. I think it's 19. Episode 18. It might be 18. I'm stupid. Episode 18, I don't remember the name of the episode. Oh.
Yes, 18. It's the gym teacher.
That's right, the gym teacher. And I have some feelings about this episode. And we also covered Lost, episode, I believe, 18 or 17.
Well, actually, what we should do is figure out what episode it is out of the Lost thing, and then we add one, and that's the Nanny episode.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it's episode 18.
Okay, so then it's 19. I think you're right, because I started doing, I think 20 is Ode to Barbara Joan. I think 21 is Franny's Choice, and 22 is I Don't Remember Mama.
Oh my God, look at her pulling it out of her butthole. I'm sorry, I'm looking this up right now. So
I just want to know.
It is episode 18 of Lost.
Okay, so episode 19, the gym teacher of the Nanny, because we are one episode ahead in the Nanny, because there are ultimately more episodes of the Nanny than there are Lost.
This is the better show. No, I'm kidding. She's not. I'm not kidding. Actually, I am kidding. Lost is superior. I'm sorry.
Actually, this will be a really fun thing. If y'all have been watching both shows with us, comment below which show do you like better.
I'm curious about this.
I am actually quite curious about what people feel.
Take it from the context of episodes you've seen so far.
Correct. I don't want to hear, the Nanny is better because of X episode in season 3. No.
Yeah. Just from what we've covered so far.
I don't want to hear Lost is the best because of the overall series finale or whatever. I don't want to hear any of that stuff. So I think that for season 1 up to the end where we're at, which one are you enjoying more? I will tell you mine.
What?
Lost.
I would agree. I think Lost is better. I think Lost has more above average episodes so far than The Nanny. I feel like that is going to very quickly change once we get to the later half of season 2, beginning of season it's got its moments in Lost, but the writer's strike definitely hampers Lost at a specific time.
And also we're talking about two very different kinds of shows. We're talking about Lost, which is a drama, there's mystery and suspense and those kind of things, and we're talking about The Nanny, which is a traditional sitcom that is think of 90s sitcoms, but also incorporating elements of I Love Lucy and those elements that made some of the most successful TV shows of all time, right?
Yeah.
So Lost was a pioneer. The Nanny's not a pioneer for what it is. You know? So remembering that comedies, typically you draw an audience for the first year and then you the characters and the writers find their groove and continue on, right? So I have always maintained the first season and a half of The Nanny is
the
enjoyable, but it is the worst out of all of the series.
No, you're it's the worst television experience I've ever had.
Get the fuck out of my apartment.
He
comes to New York, Chicago, where The Nanny is. In Chicago. No. Literally, I pick him up at the airport. He gets into LaGuardia. And today goes, I want to go, where's Flushing? And I was like, where I fucking picked you up. At the airport.
Wait, is it really? That's Flushing,
Queens?
That's
Flushing.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't that bad.
Why am I upset? I don't care. I don't live anywhere near there.
You literally live down the street. We're in Flushing, Queens right now.
Says the guy from Flushing. That's not the words.
I have something to talk about when we get into the episode of The Nanny. And also, you're going to be peppered with live reactions, hopefully, if the footage comes out of us watching.
I should probably upload that somewhere.
Yeah. We'll have live reactions of some of the things that happened. Shout out to our friend Chase, who is here watching The Nanny with us last night. So you're going to see Chase in some of the reactions, but he's obviously not here with us today. No. You might see my husband's foot, because he was off to the side.
It's also the best part of it.
It is the best part of the reactions. And I am very excited to get into this. So just bear with us here. We did not take notes.
No.
For either of these episodes.
This is going to be a little different because we're in person. We wanted to have a loose and fun time. Yeah. So we watched the episodes a little tipsy.
Definitely tipsy.
We're recording sober.
Yeah, very sober.
So there's that. But yeah, we watched The Nanny last night. We watched Lost today in preparation for this podcast. So minimal notes, maximum mess. Is that how?
Oh, for sure.
Is that good to say?
And what I do have one of my trusty resources, Lostpedia, that I can refer to if I miss a story beat within the episode that we didn't talk about. But to be honest, there's only really 2 plot lines in Numbers for Lost.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of flashback that we can talk about.
And with the nanny,
yeah.
I'm going to consult with Nannypedia, which is my head, because I know this episode.
Oh, no, there should be an Nannypedia. Someone get on that.
Okay, I'll get on it then.
Make it.
There probably is, honestly.
There probably is. Yeah. Okay, let's get into it then, because we gotta try and stay on track because we have no notes, so this will be a mess, and I can't wait.
Let's get into episode 19 of season 1 of The Nanny, The Gym Teacher.
Yum.
She had style, she had flair. She was there. That's how she became the nanny.
I'm gonna sneeze.
Sneeze away, girl. Sneeze away. So you're gonna have to fill me in and help me remember aspects of this episode. She's a sneezy girl. Oh, I thought that would make you sneeze. I don't know why I thought. That's hiccups. That's not sneezing. I was like, ooh, I'm going to make her scared and that'll get rid of the sneeze. Wrong bodily function completely.
I looked at myself just go. Actually, it kind of helped. I'm not going to lie. I don't have to sneeze anymore.
I'm a miracle worker.
Instead, I'm just going to have tears forming because I can't sneeze.
It's fine. Cry away. Because this was not an emotional episode.
No.
Gym Teacher, I thought was a solid 6 out of 10.
I would agree.
Was it memorable? No. I
will say part of this is also because, like, love Chase, we love you, but there was a lot more commentary than we normally have.
Yeah, it was very difficult to pay attention. It was very
distracting.
Yeah, it was very difficult to pay attention. I honestly could maybe give you the plot. I think it has something to do with like a test that Maggie has to take for PE.
So basically, it starts off with Fran coming home from shopping or something like that, and Maggie is on the couch not feeling well, and Niles has been tending to her, and she says, "Oh, my period's really bothering me." And Fran's like, "That's weird. You've had your period every single week this
Which
week,
I'm
this
like,
month."
I'm like, you're dying. That's what that means. You're dying.
I'm sitting there being like, "Girl, you got to get that checked out by a gyno."
Yeah.
It is not normal to be bleeding for 28 days straight.
Yeah, I just the thought of that. Could you imagine having a cramp every day of the week?
Yes, I've been there.
Oh, fuck, never mind.
Hi,
man.
I have endometriosis.
Oh, yeah. Hashtag relatable?
I have had endometriosis. I have literally had months where I've bled every single day.
Oh, my God.
I have had cramps. I have had back pain that somebody feels like someone is stabbing and kicking my back at the same time.
So you're Maggie.
Yeah, except for we find out that that's not really what's happening.
Yeah, Maggie doesn't even know what a vagina looks like. And
yeah, her testicles are in the way.
Yeah,
The ovary portion.
Maggie is just so messy. She can't keep her story straight. She's terrible at lying, and before we get into like the overall beat by beat plot of this episode.
Just had a cold chill.
I want to say that I really enjoyed the physical comedy in this because it's a very physical comedy episode.
Not just by Fran.
By Maggie. Maggie is kind of killing it. In fact, Maggie's kind of upstaging Fran in this episode when it comes to physical comedy.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I really appreciated the gym teacher, which you had a big reaction to in Chase because
she's played by Rita Moreno.
And I don't know who that is.
We need to cancel Dylan.
I know.
We're revoking the gay card. Okay, so Rita Moreno was on one day.
I know she does brown face at some point, right?
Well, not in this episode.
Not in this episode.
No, she was in West Side Story, and
That's right.
and the directors of West Side Story in the late 50s. So very different time frame. Not saying that it's okay, but we're saying like for the time frame, it is what it was, kind of thing. They made her darken up with makeup so that she looked quote unquote more ethnic, like she would be Puerto Rican.
Yikes.
So she is Latin, but they were like, made her essentially do
darker.
brown face.
Darker. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not quite blackface, but it was brown face, and it was not okay.
Yeah.
So she, but she played Anita in West Side Story in the movie, which if you have not seen, I own, and after this we are watching.
I think I have seen West Side Story. It has been a long time since I've seen West Side Story.
If you don't know if you've seen West Side Story,
I couldn't tell you anything about the plot.
really?
No.
It's Romeo and Juliet.
Girl, I don't know.
Guys, first it was The Nanny. Now it's...
I'm not a musical gay. We know this.
Uncultured gay swine.
I am just...
This pig Bob.
This ugly piggy bitch. Or no, I just showed you the meme. You fucking pickly bitch.
I still swear she says pimply.
That too.
I feel like it's like do you see black and blue or do you see gold and white?
Yeah.
I'm seeing gold and white in this situation.
And I'm seeing ugly pickly bitch.
I'm hearing ugly pimply bitch.
And I'm here for it.
One makes more sense.
No, you can be pickly. You can be sour, gross. You can have like a pickly undertone, very sodium enriched. Pickly bitch.
Well, call me a pickly bitch then, because I love a pickle.
Oh, same. I love pickles.
Okay, time out. Have you ever had pickled garlic?
Yeah.
It's so good. And your breath stinks.
Oh, you said pickled garlic.
Yeah.
I went to like pickled.
Cloves.
I went to like pickled relish, and I was like, yeah, I've had pickled relish.
No, like a clove of garlic. They
No, I
peel
haven't.
it and then they pickle it, and then it's like a whole clove, and you can just pop it in your mouth.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It is so good, but your breath do be bringing down the house. After
And that's
that.
fine.
But it's
that's fine.
it's totally worth it. First of all,
Yeah.
if you're like, I don't want to have to see my family, pop that in there and go. I can't come to the barbecue because I will kill you with my breath.
Or murder them. Just murder them.
Hi, this has been Hot Mess Moments, and we would like to tell you how to get away with murder.
Please do not murder your family if you don't want to see them. Just
pop some garlic.
ditch them. Just ditch them.
Just ditch them.
Start a new life in another country.
Yeah.
So with this episode, I want to start off by saying, and this is where if we are successfully able to get the reactions, this hilarious moment where we were all singing the intro to The Nanny, and it was a moment.
It was, as someone who is a theater gay, essentially,
Yeah.
it was the closest I will ever get to people just singing the same song spontaneously. I mean, I guess it wasn't
was good.
spontaneously. It touched my heart.
I wouldn't go that far. We have to work on our presentation, our characterization. I don't know what theater terms.
I'm
not
to
a theater
speak
gay.
for your damn self, because I was killing it. I was in tune. I was expressive. I was enunciating.
All right,
I was projecting.
Let's let them be the judge. So I will insert here if we were able to get it to work.
She was working in a bridal shop with flashing queens, and her boyfriend kicked her out of one of those crushing scenes. What was she to do? Where was she to go? She's out on her fanny. So the pressure crushing to the Sheffield store. She was there to sell makeup, but the bar to sell more. She had style, she had fun, she was there. But just became the nanny. Who wanted cast that the rosy sky? But that's exactly what the garden prescribed. Now the final parts of my God. Watch out, CC! Which one would be? She's the lady in red, and everybody else is wearing tan. Drunk and flashing, the lady named Freya.
So yeah, y'all make your decisions. This was so much fun.
But basically, what we find out is that Maggie is actually faking having girl issues, uterus issues, the whole nine, because she doesn't want to face her gym teacher. Her gym teacher has this test that she needs to pass for like a gymnastics portion of the curriculum.
Just
She's
so
not
weird.
doing well. And she doesn't like her gym teacher. And Fran says, ugh, you don't have to deal with the gym teacher I had. She was awful. She was mean. She went out of her way to humiliate me. Blah, 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 blah. And basically, we just get to the point where Fran meets the gym teacher and finds out, shocker,
Yeah.
same gym teacher she had when she was in high school.
Yeah, and I remember there being like a through line of this episode where I remember when I was done with the episode, watching it, I remember learning what the lesson of the episode was. And like I said, episode not the most memorable. I forgot what there was a side plot with Maxwell. And
Damn it, now I don't even remember.
And we're great at reviewing episodes. So there was a side plot with Maxwell.
I know what it was. Okay.
It has something to do with like people in your past.
So he Cece hires Alan Beck, this world famous
That's what
actor,
it was. Yeah.
to join their production, where he's gonna be playing FDR in this it's not a biopic because it's a
theater production.
but it's a play about FDR. So he's gonna be playing the title character, and he comes in as a hotshot with this big cigar and starts ordering Maxwell around. And Maxwell had told Cece ahead of time, why did you hire him? I was his assistant way back in London when I was getting my start in the theater. And he set me on fire. Like, he is an awful human being. And he,
like, Jesus.
Yeah, like, seriously. So we have this whole, like, joke throughout the entirety of the situation where Alan Beck is smoking a cigar constantly, and you see him all the time kind of using intimidation of like lighting the end of his cigar.
Yeah.
So you see him join Maxwell and Cece backstage at the theater for rehearsal, and the first thing he says is that, oh, this script is a bomb, it's awful.
He's a dick.
Actually, he's a horrible human.
Yeah.
And then he starts ordering Maxwell around, and he says, I want a coffee. Go get me a coffee. And Maxwell says, well, actually, I'm the producer. And he goes, with cream.
And then Maxwell proceeds to beat Alan Beck within an inch of his life.
With his dick.
Call me Alan Beck. Call me Alan Beck, honey.
Call me when you're wrong.
Call me when you need.
Call me Alan Beck.
Honestly, Maxwell was so fucking hot by the end of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
There is a pretty hot moment at the end we'll get to.
Oh, my God.
Or do we want to just skip and just do
we
this through
can
line?
talk. No, we'll talk about it afterward.
Okay. Because
it kind of all comes together. But just get prepared for me to get thirsty about Maxwell.
After he takes a nap.
I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
It has been. He biked all throughout the Midwest.
Yeah, because we're totally in Chicago.
He went to Toledo. It was a
I
walk.
think in total we biked, I want to say almost an hour.
Yeah, he's world record from Chicago to Toledo.
Exactly. Very fast on a bike.
Yeah.
No, so I'm like pooped. So we have this like gym teacher plot that's happening with Maggie and Fran, and the gym teacher's like, she needs to pass with flying colors, basically.
Yeah.
And Fran's like, well, I'll teach her, which I guess is their mechanism for like this funny physical comedy moment, but also like, I could be missing a plot point here because like Chase was like having a lot of colorful commentary. It was hard to follow, but I don't understand why Fran is like, what is the big fucking deal if she passes this or not? It's not like she's going to fail from school.
Actually, yes.
Oh, she is.
I'm going to put this out there.
See, I missed that.
This is a part of the plot.
Okay.
But it's also true about New York State. You cannot pass your grade if you do not pass gym.
Oh.
In New York State.
Interesting.
But this is not like, they weren't like, according to New York State, you must pass gym. Like, they didn't do that.
What was that?
Oh, no.
What the fuck was that?
know.
I'm never again.
What do you mean?
Hello, it's me. The new,
You know what it is?
the
A
New York
ginger
State.
bitch being Richard Simmons.
It is, yeah.
Hi, I've worked out really well. Hi, I work for New York State representation.
Hello. I used to work in the Department of Education in New York State.
I hate that.
Hey.
Move to New York City.
So yeah, that's what happens in this episode, and
So basically, she's
got
gonna
it.
fail all, like, basically her entire grade if she doesn't pass.
see, that's
gym.
what I was missing because I was just like, they're really trying to get her this A,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what is the point here? But that makes sense. So she's
Yeah.
gonna fail, and so Fran decides
Also,
to take it upon
Maxwell
herself.
is 100% a parent that does not allow his children to fail anything.
Totally.
Like, he will absolutely punish Maggie. So I think there's a bit of self-preservation
Yeah.
in wanting to preserve any kind of punishment that might come from Maxwell. She also
yeah.
doesn't want to let on to Maxwell that her daughter has been skipping classes, or his daughter, not her daughter,
Yeah.
has been skipping classes or anything like that.
See, I missed that she was skipping classes, which feeds further into my theory that she's becoming more Fran-like and is skipping school and is like doing these other things that she should not be doing that she
Yeah.
wasn't doing before. And so that makes complete sense now. So Fran is trying to teach Maggie how to do like gymnastics and stuff like that. Want to call out their leotards. Very appropriate for the times.
Oh, yeah.
Like the colors, the designs, the patterns. Not my outfit of the episode, but very cute. Loved the leotards. But I do want to talk about my actual outfit of the episode because I can't remember when it shows up, but I thought it was really cute. There is a polka dot dress with an ombre effect.
Oh,
It's-
it's so cute.
It's so cute.
It is the outfit that Fran is wearing when Maggie's doing her test at the end of the episode. When
It's
she's in the
great.
gym. Yes.
I literally, because I knew I wasn't taking notes, I kept telling myself, remember this dress. Remember this dress. You're going to talk about this. Remember this dress because it's
I
so
love that one.
good.
It was really cute.
That's like the only thing I remember about
And
this
it's
episode.
actually not a dress. It is a skirt matching jacket that blends seamlessly together. Isn't it even better?
Oh, that's sick.
And
yeah.
it's actually not even a skirt now that I think about it. It's shorts. It's yeah.
Those are like pants?
Those are like pants.
That's
yeah.
sick.
And
That's
then she's
really
wearing
cool.
these black tights underneath that are really, really cute. So
Yeah, it worked. It worked
black stockings. actually.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like, definite outfit of the episode material there.
It was really cute.
So we get this moment when they're training within the gym of pure peak physical comedy of Maggie and Fran preparing themselves, hyping themselves up, and they just like crash and burn.
Yeah.
And then we get literally a cut to the next scene and we see that Fran is like hurting because she's like not yeah. It's so good because
It's me waking up this morning after walking 6 miles yesterday.
yeah. New York City. I mean, Chicago, baby.
San Diego. Woo!
That scene in the kitchen when she's in so much pain is hilarious. And I love that it just is so funny to me because like Fran still doesn't read to me as old.
Yeah.
And it's because, you know, she's in her 30s. And so they're saying like, oh, Fran's so old. And I mean, I'm getting that way too, where I'm like, oh, my body's not what it used to be. But it's so funny to see Fran, who is like clearly physically fit, who is like clearly skinny as hell.
Well,
and like,
I will say this: just
Yeah.
because you're skinny doesn't mean that you're physically fit.
I feel like she exercises. Like
You think Fran Fine or Fran Drescher?
Fran Drescher.
Okay, now I get what you're saying. I thought you were saying the character.
No. The character clearly doesn't work out, but like
Okay.
Fran Drescher as an actress clearly goes to the gym
Yeah.
and like takes care of herself. And so I do find it really funny that we have Fran
Yeah.
Drescher playing a character Fran Fine who's like, I'm so old, my body's so out of it. And I'm like, girl, you look like you go to the gym like 4 days a week.
It's so true. And I
yeah.
will say this too, like there was an interview not so long ago that came out after the Nanny started streaming on HBO Max where she was saying like how intense her gym and exercise and diet was to be
Yeah.
on this show. And then I actually believe, I don't think she said this, but in my mind, that to me is probably why it masked a little bit of her uterine cancer symptoms.
That makes sense.
Because she was like not healthy because of how much she was working out
Totally.
and dieting in order to play this character on television. And so now that she's older, she was talking about how, listen, I'm older. I don't have to maintain this kind of like image or
Yeah.
anything. She goes, I am a size 6 and I look great, but when I filmed, I was a size 2 or a size 0 or a size 4 at the very most. Like, she was maintaining a weight in such that was not really healthy for her, but she had to put on this, like, you know, thing. And I will say that while, of course, we reap the benefits of that because we get this incredible sense of style throughout the entire thing, that is exactly what has led to so many millennials in particular, in some Gen Xers, having a lot of body issues and eating disorders and that kind of thing. So I'm thankful that we're having these conversations now, because Fran, she was like, if I'm ever to be on a TV show again, you're going to get a size 6, size 8 kind of Fran. And when Megan Mullally played Karen Walker, she was a size 8, and everyone called her a plus size actress.
Oh, wow.
Which, by the way, plus size starts at about 12, 14, I would say 14, 16, to be perfectly honest, in women's clothing in the U.S. And so saying size 8, which is like a very average size, is so sick.
Yeah, that's weird. So that's kind of like, to bring us back to like what's happening in the kitchen. She's like feeling it. She's feeling the pain. They're trying the best to take care of her. And I love when that scene where she's like going upstairs. I can't remember the conversation with Maxwell. But there was something there with their conversation.
It's kind of like they're both dealing with the people of their past kind of situation.
Yeah.
And she's trying to be like, well, you don't have to worry about like doing anything to like physical, essentially.
Yeah.
And like she kind of gives him like the you just need to be intimidating back, or like show
like,
him that
get a
you're
backbone.
boss, essentially.
Yeah.
And that you're the boss. And he kind of like doesn't really give her much of like advice here, but is mostly kind of like thankful, I think, for her like taking care of Maggie in this situation.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So then we get into this moment where, and I'm gonna cut to towards the end with Maxwell, where Maxwell takes the advice that Fran gave him and is so fucking sexy in this scene. He showcases true dom top energy. For sure. And Mama, I'm a top. So like we're verse, and so we're ready. I love how I went from top to verse.
You're like, I'm a top, baby. Except for I bottom too.
No. So this scene with Maxwell, Alan Beck comes in with a cigar and he's kind of demanding. He even steals something from the desk and is like, "This is mine, and I'm gonna do whatever I want." And Maxwell basically puts him in his place, takes out a cigar, lights it with like an even cooler looking lighter.
A blowtorch.
And I'm like, I'm fucking horny for Maxwell. Like, it was so hot.
Insert Dylan's boner here.
Yeah, I just kidding. A boner.
Please don't insert Dylan's boner here.
Don't insert Dylan's boner here. If we have reactions, I'll just pepper them throughout here. But this scene specifically, when he is kind of giving it to Alan, I mean, there's this entire, he's just fucking him. He just fucks him in that office. They have this whole scene set up when Alan leaves the office to make him think that he's easily replaceable.
Yeah.
And so there's all these other like fake actors pretending to be FDR. And Fran is in on it, and Fran mentions this like other big actor that is going to take
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, I couldn't remember who it was.
Oh, okay. I thought you just didn't know who.
No. I didn't remember who she said.
I got you. Yeah. No, that's fair enough. No, she says Anthony Hopkins called and blah blah blah, and then Maxwell goes, "Tell Tony that I'll give him a call or we'll have lunch or something."
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
And Alan Beck is not having it. So Alan immediately comes begging back. He's like, no, I'll do it. Just no demands. Like, he drops all of his demands and still steals the thing from the desk.
Yeah.
So the lesson is learned that Maxwell just needed to have some thick skin and not let people walk all over him.
Yeah.
Now, onto the flip side with Fran, we see Maggie do her actual test. And this is when we get peak Maggie physical comedy. This girl is her own stunt double. She is flipping.
My favorite part is that when we were watching it, you went, I can't wait to see the stunt double.
No, Chase was like that. Chase
Oh,
was,
I thought it was you.
No, Chase is like, I can't wait to see the stunt double. There was no stunt double.
No stunt double.
They paid this girl enough money to where she's like, you know what? I'm gonna throw myself
do
over
it.
this. She's like on the rings. She's going
The
over
best
the
shot.
horse.
Yeah. She does the rope. She does the pommel horse. It's just the.
Yeah, when they're swinging, it is the best. And honestly, she gets MVP for the episode just for the physical comedy. Like,
I feel like that's
so
the
good.
only time you've ever given Maggie MVP.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's mostly because of the actress and like how she portrayed the physical comedy,
Yeah.
less the actual character itself. But
Fair enough,
it's
though.
great. It's so good. And that is when the gym teacher is like laughing because she's gonna fail Maggie because she's so bad, and she ends up choking on the whistle that she was supposed to blow. And so Fran, being the lovely nanny that she is, just the most simple push. You could clearly tell the whistle was just in her mouth. She spits it out like it's nothing. It's like, you saved my life, or whatever she
She
said.
said, you saved my life. You saved my life.
Yeah.
She gets mad that Fran saved her life.
Because now she owes Fran something, and Fran says, you're going to pass her, right? And
No, actually, how
Oh.
this happens is that Maggie goes, wow, Fran, did I pass? And she goes, yes, you got an A, didn't she? Like that. She looks over at the gym
yeah.
teacher, and gym teacher goes, yes. And she goes, wow, great. I felt like I was really on.
Yeah. It's so good. And yeah, so Maggie passes, and I think what ties this together is there is an after credit scene of Fran with the gym teacher going through their old yearbook.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't even hilarious lesbian joke.
Which
early
one?
in where she's like, the gym teacher's like, and she got a husband. I'm shocked.
Shocked.
Yeah. Like, because clearly it's like a very butch woman, and
Yeah.
she's just like, I'm just shocked that she got a
It's so
husband.
good. It's so good.
That was hilarious. But yeah, they're going through the yearbook, and they're just like reminiscing on like young Fran and like
Yeah.
all these things. And I thought it was a really good bookend to the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I thought it was really good.
Yeah. It was, I think, like I said before, this is probably the weakest episode left in season 1. The next episode is okay, too.
Yeah.
I think it's better than this one, but I don't think it's, like, stunning. But I think the last two, to me, have a lot of standout moments.
Ooh,
so
I can't wait.
especially the last episode. The last episode of season 1 is in my top 10 favorite episodes of all of the series.
I can't wait. I'm excited. I already gave my MVP. I would give it to Maggie. If I had to give an LVP, I would probably, this is tough. I guess Alan Beck.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, Alan Beck. I know that the actor was famous because they freaked out.
And I knew who he was too, and now let me look it up quickly.
Yeah, I had no idea who he was, and everyone, like, the audience was like, oh, it's Alan Beck. Who is it?
He's played by Joseph Bologna, but I'm trying to remember what his,
Oh, Joseph Bologna. I love that name.
or we could say Bologna as well. Joseph Bologna.
But yeah, he was great in the role of being an asshole, but his character was just like such a misogynist and like talked down to Fran. He just wanted to fuck Fran, and Fran was all about it. But his character was just kind of like one-dimensional, kind of lame. I had a hard time believing that he was a great FDR to the point like where they'd put up with it. I know it's because his name was on the play, but
it's true.
LVP.
I'm getting the idea that he's just like kind of, they call him a veteran actor, but I think that he just acted in like everything, if that makes sense. So I don't know if he had much of a lead role and such. If you actually know what he was mostly in or known for.
Don't tell us.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
I don't want to
Keep
know.
it to yourself. Just kidding.
Here, entertain them while I get up to go get a seltzer.
Can you get me one?
I have legs. Okay.
You know what? This was just a pathetic excuse because he was in a squat for so long.
It's true.
He just needs to get up.
Polar Seltzer, sponsor us.
Oh my God. Imagine after all of my petitioning that it's you who gets Polar sponsored. I would be so mad. I mean, if it's the two of us together, here for it.
I would gladly drink Polar Seltzer exclusively on our podcast if they want to sponsor us, and we'll show it every.
What if we had like
with our 30 to 40, 50 viewers?
I would love the idea that we get sponsored by Polar Seltzer, and it was like, and if you want a 2% discount on seltzer, use the code HOTMESS.
Could you wait before we get into laws? Let's have a moment. Let's do a fake commercial. Like this is
okay.
Because you know how like professional podcasts they have a real commercial. So like, don't you just hate it when your butt cheeks chafe? It's the worst.
Yeah, but you know what, Dylan? I found a wonderful way to keep hydrated, not only on the outside. Nope, not only on the inside. But on the inside of the butt cheeks as well.
Oh my gosh. Well, did you know that scientists have looked into the refreshing drink known as Polar Seltzer?
Yeah.
And scientists have found that if you not only consume Polar Seltzer, but you put it just a little dab between the butt cheeks every single night.
The bubbles feel really good.
They feel really good. They don't actually help anything.
No, scientists have found that
it's
not helpful, but it just feels good.
Yes. And so Polar Seltzer is doing a summer collections exclusively with Hot Mess moments. Check them out at
PolarSeltzer.com.
Insert website here.
And if you would like to get 2% off on your next order of Polar Seltzer to your home, use code HOTMESS. That's Hot Mess on PolarSeltzer.com for 2% off your next order.
Please be warned, this may not be an actual discount code. Don't actually apply this to anywhere on Polar Seltzer's website.
I don't think you can order seltzer off their website. I wish you could. Polar,
let us give you that shitty commercial. That one's for free. The next one's not.
I love the idea that the Polar Seltzer is like, how do we distance ourselves from these two?
You could also pay us to never drink your drink ever again on our podcast.
Could you sponsor us to just not ever mention your product
Wait,
again?
do you remember that on Jersey Shore with the situation where I think it was Abercrombie and Fitch actually paid him to not wear his clothing? I love it. They were like, "You're actually a brand risk for us."
It literally would break my heart if Polar ever was like, "We need you to never drink our stuff on camera again."
Honestly, I would be very proud if we hit that moment. No, don't quiver.
By the way, last night I took a drink and I started laughing and I started quivering in the mouth, and you guys were like dying laughing.
Yeah, I was like, "What is she?" She was like. Like imagine like you know when your teeth chatter when you're cold, it was like that, but like on a white girl level, like pouty lips and like.
Because I had a whole bunch of freaking seltzer there. Hold on, let me see if I can redo it.
Please don't. The class did not ask for it. Don't spit up.
It burns. It burns on the tongue.
Oh my gosh, that's the Polar Seltzer way. No, I'm kidding.
That was really attractive. I went.
Yeah, she just stuck her tongue out, looking like a lick-a-tongue. Love that.
Better lick a tongue than a licky licky. I don't like licky licky.
Licky licky can go choke. I'm
Licky
sorry.
licky can go lick a lasshole.
Yeah, I didn't say that. I did not say that at all.
I said a lasshole. You know, like a lady's hole.
I was kind of thinking like a lasso, like a cowboy.
A lasshole.
Speaking of holes.
What about a lost hole?
Lost hole.
Actually, that is an appropriate thing for this episode. A lost hole. Where did it go? Rousseau's hole. Bunker. Hole.
That's a stretch, and I'm not talking about holes.
Oh, God.
So, let's cover Lost, episode 18, Numbers.
Previously on Lost.
So, this episode.
Wow.
Thoughts, feelings.
This was a really good episode. It advances the plot a lot. It starts to put some interesting theories in for the characters, which then makes the audience put together theories.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on there.
It also introduces like a major mystery to the show.
Yeah. So Numbers is a Hurley-centered episode. Wait! You know what we didn't do for the nanny?
Oh, what did we do?
We didn't have you guess what you think the next episode's about.
Oh, what's the title of it?
An ode to Barbara Joan.
It's going to be someone that Fran went to school with
Okay.
that was an idol that she looked up to
Okay.
that ends up coming back into her life.
Mm-hmm.
And she realizes that her life's better than the other girls because Maggie is going to be going through a similar situation where there's a girl that she looks up to at school. And then it's like the lesson is, you do you, boo-boo. That's where I think that's going to go.
100% right.
Really?
No.
I was like, oh my God, girl. Yes. Okay.
No,
Sorry.
it's nothing like that.
So, okay, Lost.
Okay,
so,
Lost.
What do you rate this episode?
I'm giving this episode a good 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This
yeah.
was, I really, really, really like this episode.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, I tend to really like the episodes where we start getting more information about the overall plot of the show.
Totally.
I really, I don't mind getting into the characters. I think that the characters are really, obviously, they're gray, and we're trying to figure out some things about them, both positive and negative and all that stuff. I don't mind that. Give me more shit. I want to know what's happening on this island. So we get a little bit more here. We get the reintroduction of Russo. We have the numbers themselves, which we'll get into. There's a better sense of what happened to Russo, what is happening to everybody, potentially mysteries. We get a little bit more. We have more of an idea of what the Black Rock is.
Yeah.
There's it's just boom, 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 boom.
That's
boom,
how
boom.
it feels watching it
Yes.
too, because there's no real lull, because even when the flashbacks are happening, you're still getting more stuff happening. So it's not I feel like every flashback scene had something that happens in it. And so you're just oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I never knew this about Hurley. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Um
And I remember you saying that oh, it's a really funny episode
it
and
is.
such. And there is comedy in it, but
Yeah.
it's not a ha 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 laugh out loud. It's oh, that's sad. Funny.
Yeah, it's oh, I feel bad for you, but this is
Yeah.
such a shitty situation you're in. But also it's kind of funny, but shit.
So let me talk a little bit about the flashbacks portion of Hurley.
Yeah.
So what we see is Hurley is living at home. It's a Saturday night. He's waiting on dinner. Actually, he's eating fried chicken, I think.
Yeah. So I don't know. This isn't a spoiler because it's more storytelling based off what you see. He's wearing a fried chicken fast food place's uniform because he works at a fried chicken fast food restaurant.
Okay, so
and
he's supposed to be a KFC. That he
he's
works for.
off shift.
Okay.
He just got back.
So and then
home.
he's eating the food that's obviously from the place, and his mom's you're an adult male and you're home alone on a Saturday night living with your mom and eating fried chicken. You got to go out there and do something. He's yeah, I'll get right on that. And she goes, at the very least, you got to be eating healthier and taking care of yourself. And he's whatever. He's flipping through the channels and he comes across the lotto numbers. And he gets there right when the Powerball number is being revealed, which is 42, right?
Yes.
I remember that. And he kind of goes, huh, and then he looks down at his ticket, and he has all of the numbers, which were 4, 8, 15, 16, 24, 42,
Close.
23,
42.
23, 42.
You're going to see me reference these numbers, and you're going to be referencing them all show long.
The fact that I knew the vast majority of those.
Yeah, queen shit. Now, before we do anything, before we continue on, from this point forward, want you a new segment on the show.
Okay.
Whenever you notice something that is related to the numbers, point it out. Like if
Okay.
you're like, oh shit, there's like 42 of this.
Okay.
Because they do that all
Okay.
the
42
time.
passengers on the plane.
42 passengers. It's also flight 815.
Okay.
Just in this episode alone, we'll get to talking about it later.
There's
but
4 of them that go and find Rousseau.
they do this a ton. You'll notice this like periodically. Where was it? Oh, when they talk about Sam Toomey, the guy in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
He killed himself. I think it was like 4 hours or 4 years after he got like 4 as another number. Like they'll always like bring it back to a number in some way, and it's really fun to find them. There's like entire YouTube videos out there that are like literally devoted to like finding all the numbers that the producers purposely hide.
And so here's what I love.
show.
I bet, especially with like the number 4 or 8, which is like relatively easy to like come up with stuff. I bet that there's stuff that the producers are like, oh yeah, that's definitely one, even though like they had no intention of it.
Totally.
But yeah, so basically we find out that he wins the lottery with these numbers. We don't know what the significance of the numbers are. He just says they kind of came to him when he's being interviewed. So he's being interviewed by the press. He's introducing his family and saying like, I can't wait to. He introduces his grandfather, and he says, my grandfather has never had a vacation, and the number one thing I want to do is give him the vacation of his dreams. His grandfather drops dead.
Yeah, I think he says something along the lines of, I want to take my grandfather on the vacation where he deserves the peace and quiet that he's like needed. And so the peace and quiet he gets is literal death.
Yeah, he gets the peace and quiet of death in that situation. So then the next flashback, we see Hurley driving his mother in a car. Is that the next one? Okay.
Yeah,
he's
it's like
driving
the Hummer.
Yeah, so he's driving a Hummer. His mother looks so nice and made up and everything. And he's saying, I wanted to do something for you, because she doesn't know where they're going. He goes, I wanted to do something nice for you. So, because he goes after, Grandpa. And then he says something along the lines of like his brother.
So basically what happened is up at this point, his grandfather died. The priest that was at the funeral got struck by lightning. And his brother's wife left him for a waitress. So, love the lesbian. And this is the thing about the show. The show is very, very bad about LGBTQIA plus representation. It is well known throughout the show. So it is kind of nice because I never even realized that that was in this episode, to see like, oh cool, there's like a little like lesbian moment of sorts.
But I will say it's one of those things that's very like kind of an outdated thing where like it's like, ooh, she left you for a woman. Like that's something to be like absolutely like messed up. But anyway, so he said, after all of that kind of stuff, so he brings her to a house and blindfolds her, and this is like this beautiful like mansion essentially. And as he's blindfolding her and taking her out of the car, he says you can take the blindfold off, and she doesn't, and she like breaks her ankle getting out of the car.
It's so sad.
It's so sad. To the point where I was like, if you know there's all this bad shit going on, why would you fucking blindfold your mom? Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're just asking for bad shit to happen then. So anyway, she breaks her ankle and she's crying. She's not even looking at the house. And then right behind him, the house is on fire because she smells smoke, and he realizes the house that he just bought for his mother is on fire. And then the police show up while he's trying to call like 911. And they falsely arrest him.
Yes, they think he's a drug dealer. Now, I don't know if this is a direct reference.
Okay.
But Jorge Garcia, who plays Hurley, I can't remember whether this came out first or if Curb Your Enthusiasm came out first. But he played a drug dealer on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, funny.
And so I don't know if this is like a reference to like one of his past characters where like,
Gotcha.
oh, you got falsely arrested for being a drug dealer because he played a drug dealer on
I have
another
a feeling
show.
Curb Your Enthusiasm came out first because season 4 of Curb Your Enthusiasm would have come out around maybe a year after this.
Probably,
when, the whole purpose of that is the producers, and the producers would have been about 3 or 4 years of being #1 show on Broadway at that point.
That is quite a way to connect that, but work.
Listen, The Producers is the most Tony winningest musical of all time. That was in 2001. So therefore, that is my benchmark of trying to figure out when Curb Your Enthusiasm, which I thought was season 4, but it could have been 6 now that I think about it.
So
did
definitely,
a whole thing
definitely. Okay, so definitely so I think this might be a reference because it's such a weird, it's so strange, but it's just kind of showing how much bad luck Hurley has.
Getting.
Yeah.
So then we see him talking to his financial advisor, who's like, by the way, you own a box company and you do all this stuff. And
Did you catch that reference?
No.
Do you remember Locke works for a box company in the exact city that Hurley's box company is from? So Hurley owns the box company that Locke works for.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's so
Yeah.
funny. I was trying to remember where I heard box company before, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, he says, yeah, you own a box company, and then he said something about your shoe company or something.
Yeah, you used to own a shoe company, I think in Canada or something. I can't remember.
But the factory burned down.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, how many fucking buildings are going to burn down? So, but he said that basically you've tripled your investment, though, between the insurance claims and the court
Which is
case
sad
for
because
the false thing.
It's also obvious how the rich get richer in our society. All this bad shit can happen. But hey, you made out profiting. Yeah, you're profiting even though a bunch of people died.
It's people
sad.
died and your employees no longer have a job, but at least you made millions of more money.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, we see him make a lot of money from all these different tragedies, which he's obviously not trying to do. Or
no, he's that.
So then he comes to the realization that the guy was like, he's like, how did you even choose those numbers anyway? And he's like, I just heard them somewhere or something. So then we see him going to visit an old friend.
Yeah, so let's talk about this scene, and then I want your theory of where you think he knows this guy from.
I'm going to start with your question.
Okay.
I'm fairly certain that he was in the psychiatric ward before. Because there seemed to be trigger words a couple of times that had to do with sanity when talking to Hurley throughout the episode, where people said, you're acting crazy or you're insane. And they would say those things, and that would be the thing that triggered the flashback, or it would be something that triggered a response in him.
Totally.
So when I'll cut to this just quickly, but we'll get back to it. When he's going across the bridge, they're like, are you crazy? Yep. And it's that's what gets him to do something. So I think that, and he also mentioned earlier in the press conference that he had been a big burden on his family. And I know that when people have had, I don't like to think of it as a burden, but for some people it can be.
Totally.
Having family members or friends that are dealing with severe mental health issues to the point where they need to be institutionalized, that is something that is a burden.
Okay.
It can be a financial burden, and it can also be a huge mental and emotional burden.
Yeah.
So I think that he used to be there. Also, the way that they kind of generally treated him once he was there, he knew one of the doctors, that kind of thing, tells me he wasn't a patient that recently, but probably was one couple of years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I think that makes sense to potentially have a different staff change of who's checking in people at the front.
Yeah.
So he goes to try to check in, and they won't let him check in to see this person because they don't know who he's talking about, and he's not a doctor and all these different kinds of things. And while it's happening, there's this guy who's doing the shakiest climb up the ladder I've ever seen in my fucking life.
I'm
literally the actor was shaking the ladder as he walked. There was no way. So then he's trying to change a light bulb, and Hurley goes, dude, give it 5 minutes. And then the guy's like, okay.
He's like, shit.
So we find out that he wants to talk to this guy who's all he's doing is muttering the same numbers, which we know are 4,
I think his name was Lemmy or
Leonard or Lenny. I think. So he was, I think, again, let me 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
Yeah.
So he's buttering it over and over and over and over and over and over while he's playing Connect 4 by himself. And so, and Hurley's saying, what do the numbers mean? What is their significance? That kind of thing. Because he thinks that, it's the numbers that are cursed.
Yep.
I thought I was cursed, but I'm fine. but everything around me is going to shit. So he says, what do the numbers mean, blah, 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 blah. And then he tells Leonard, I used them and I won the lottery with them. And Leonard's like, you used the numbers? And that's like the first coherent thing that he has said that I think probably that Hurley has ever heard him say.
Probably.
And so he's like, yeah. And he said, why did you do that? Something about like it won't close now. Or
Yeah,
like
he
it's
says-
going to remain open.
He says something about like, yeah, you opened Pandora's box.
Oh,
like,
you opened it. Okay,
yeah,
that's what it was. You opened it. And so,
Yeah.
and then he was trying to tell him like it won't close, like you've opened it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It was a lot of like incoherent rambling. Like he was, yeah.
But then he was like, what did I open? And he was just like, no, it was like awful and blah, 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 blah. And as he's like, Leonard gets so worked up. Lenny does that. Like the doctors are coming to like restrain him. The security is to like restrain him and take him away. And as they're taking him away, he lets loose that like his friend Sam from like the Navy knew about the numbers and that Sam's in Australia. And so the next thing that we see is that Hurley in a flashback has tracked down Sam's house, which is in the middle of nowhere, probably in the Australian outback.
I think so, yeah.
And he goes to the house and Sam's wife is there and he asks if he can see Sam because he knows Leonard and Lenny. And she said, well, I wish I could see him too, but he's been dead for 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
And so he comes in and they're having some like tea. And she said, and he asked her about the significance of the numbers. And she said, I don't know what the significance is. He heard it with Lenny over like some kind of.
I think they said they were in a submarine or they were in a ship that was
Yeah.
off the Pacific.
It was in the Pacific. They
Or in
said.
the Pacific, yeah.
And they said it was in the Pacific, and they heard some kind of transmission that had these numbers on it.
Yep.
And so he said they always kind of remembered the numbers, and that there was a contest that there were like all these like beans in a jar or something
Which,
like that.
mind you, that would mean that there was nearly 5 billion. Because if you add 4, 8, 15, 16, 22, 42. Otherwise, unless they were adding the numbers and it was like 108. I think it's 108.
So there's 10 placements.
That'd be like a billion.
Yeah, that's a billion.
Yeah, so I was like, what?
Okay,
unless they added them all
They
together.
must have added them all together.
Yeah. Which makes sense. I think it's like 108, 180.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, that like the guy had like, which how do you not guess 100? Like I don't know. Regardless,
Yeah.
he said that apparently this had been a contest. I just realized that my flag was unzipped.
Oh my god! Welcome to Hot Mess Moments.
So yeah, basically, there's like this bean contest. Nobody had been able to ever get anywhere near like what the bean count had been.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm like, how did they come up with this?
I don't know.
I guess maybe honestly though, if there was the way that she made it sound like it was maybe like a big jar, but she did say a large jar. Maybe it was like a huge one that took up like a.
That's
like
a billion beans.
A billion beans.
That's a lot. That's insane.
I don't know.
That'd have to be like a vat of beans, and even then,
But anyway,
Yeah.
they used the numbers and apparently that was the exact amount.
Yep.
So
they got like a ton of money.
they got like a ton of money for it. And she said, but everything, like some things happened to her, but for the most part, he was fine. But everything around them went to shit and that kind of thing. And so Hurley said, so the numbers are cursed because I used them for the lottery and everything around me is going to shit, but I'm okay. And she said, who said that there was a curse?
Yeah.
And he's like, you just said all this stuff. And she said, no, you don't think that like I would have like lost my leg anyway? I like a plane wouldn't have crashed anyway. That
Yeah.
you know, like all these like acts, like life is chaos. Like this stuff is just gonna happen. Like
She's like, you
can't
make- yeah,
you're
she-
making something out of nothing.
That, and she's like, you make your own luck.
Yes.
You can't keep blaming the numbers on just your shitty circumstance that you just keep getting
Correct.
dealt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's basically what she's trying to teach him here.
So that is, I think, the last flashback that we see with her.
Yeah, and when we cover what happens in the present day, we'll also be talking about it a little bit because this all leads up to a really
Important key moment.
Very key moment between
Rousseau
Hurley,
and
Hurley and Rousseau, because we'll get there. So it's present day, and Hurley is looking at the notes and maps of Rousseau. I think that Saeed had. I think this is how it starts.
Yeah, they're looking at everything because Michael needs a battery.
Yeah, that's right.
For something, because he's trying to figure out how he can get a signal out in the middle of the ocean, because he's like, clearly there's nobody who's going by here. I'm going to need to create a signal when I'm out there. And so he charges Jack essentially to try to find something. So Jack goes to Saeed and said, I know you said that this woman had batteries. Do you think we could go ask her? And Saeed is like, has no interest in going out into the woods where she is. Mostly because I think he's really paranoid about what he faced leaving her.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think he's paranoid about
because he mentions the
voices.
dark territory. He's like, in order to get to where she is, you have to go into the dark territory on the map. And he's like, you don't want to go anywhere near that because, like,
well, that's where she is.
She's in the dark territory. Yeah.
So he's basically trying to say, like, everything that she's put down here is nonsense. Like, I can't make any, like, heads or tails of any of this or anything like that. And so Jack and Hurley are kind of looking through everything, and Hurley picks up one piece of paper and it has the numbers listed out. Like, now that I probably look at it, I bet it was listed like 8 times or something like that. That was
I
like,
think so.
Like 8 or 15 times or something like that. So, and it, like, you see him go like, oh, and that's where we see the first flashback of him like winning the lottery with those numbers.
Yep.
So that kicks off this whole thing where Hurley then wakes up Saeed in his tent in the middle of the night. It was like, hey,
I just want to talk to you about these.
Just want to talk to you about these numbers. No big deal. Just like, have you figured out anything about these numbers? And Saeed's like, basically like, no, why are you waking me up?
He was like, I think I thought these were originally coordinates, but they're not. And he's like, honestly, I haven't really put much thought into them. And so he's like, okay, just wanted to make sure, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Then he asked like how you found Rousseau. Was it like a wire on the beach?
Right.
And he's just basically asking a bunch of like interesting questions.
And then he steals all of the Rousseau maps and such as he's leaving him at night. And you see him kind of like crumple them up and like put them underneath his shirt as he leaves.
Yep.
The next day, we see Hurley dipping a whole bunch of those big plastic water bottles.
Oh, yeah.
And filling up a backpack, which is clear that he's going to go try to find Rousseau now.
Yes.
And Charlie runs into him and says, what are you trying to do? And he goes, I don't really, I'm not really interested. I'm going to go like to look for a new fishing spot. And Charlie's like, oh, I'll come with you. He's like, no, no. Don't fucking come with me. No, he didn't say that. No, but he basically
actually physically fought him.
Yeah. He also dick slammed him. It was a really weird night. That's
the
crossover.
connection.
Yes. Where he's very emphatic. No, I want some alone time. I need to do this by myself.
Yep.
And then as he's standing up, all these water bottles come out. So Charlie is like, dude, that's a lot of water. And he's like, I'm a big guy. I sweat a lot. And I, as a woman with a little bit more fat on her, in the middle of New York City in heat and humidity, can attest. I sweat constantly. And he can attest to this.
It's true. You do sweat a lot.
I sweat a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't smell, which is nice. That's
No.
actually the nice thing. I learned this from Dr. Mike's channel. Do you watch Dr. Mike ever?
This is the second time I think you've referred to him on the podcast.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You know what? After this, I'll show you a video, Doctor.
Okay.
Actually,
I did look him up. I did look him up after our
He's
first
cute,
time.
though, right?
He's cute.
okay. So anyway, but he has said that sweat itself is actually not what's smelly. It's when it sits on you and the bacteria that's on your skin, like in your armpits and your crevices, like all that kind of stuff, or in hot areas. So
Love
like
that.
the swampy areas of you and that kind of thing are have enough time to kind of. They basically fart, and that's what creates.
Love that.
But your sweat itself is not
water.
actually
Just
sweat.
salt and water.
It's just salt and water, and it's designed so when you get a breeze to cool you down. So
Love that.
I sweat a lot, which makes me feel gross, but at least I don't smell that bad. Hopefully, do I smell bad?
No, not
Okay.
at all.
Good.
So yeah, Hurley.
Imagine this was the time you said, "Yeah, this is killing me.
girl.
This is killing me that we're this close."
Yeah.
I'd be like, "I'm so sorry."
You're like, ugh.
When we said hot mess,
So then Hurley decides to venture out on his own to go find Rousseau. And so he finds the wire on the beach, which, mind you, I don't know if it's a continuity error, but I remember specifically with Sawyer, he was gone for like... Saeed, he was gone for like a week, was it? Or a few days?
It was like a day and a half.
I thought it was a few days.
He was gone for a few days, but when they said a few days, he was in a trap at that time. So he would have found the cord before that.
That's right. Okay, so. Yeah, so he finds the wire, or Hurley finds the wire, and then continues down the beach, down into the dark territory to try and find Rousseau. Oh my gosh. Like I said, long day.
Sorry, I just realized that I was like looking at you shocked as if I was
Girl,
shocked.
I thought there was something on my head. I saw you looking at my head.
No, it's fully like 11 p.m. and we've had a long day. And I'm sitting there, I'm also like...
Zombie and out. Well,
Yeah.
here, let's keep talking. So
Okay.
we get to Hurley going deeper and deeper into the jungle, and he passes by this boar that got stuck in a trap that ended up dying. And then he steps on a pressure plate, and
right when he's about to step off of it, we hear Saeed. It was Saeed and Charlie and Jack had come together and realized that Saeed thought that Jack basically hired Hurley to like steal everything from him.
Yeah.
And then he realizes no one had any idea about this, and Hurley's out by himself and probably putting himself in danger.
Yep.
So they go out after him to find him. And I would say in a much more organized effort than anybody ever did for Claire.
Fully. Like they said Claire eats shit.
They were like, that pregnant girl, that would have been 2 miles. No. Oh, we'll have to get to this storyline because I did kind of tear up for this one.
Oh, yeah. I was tearing up a little bit too. It was very cute.
I loved it. So, so basically, Saeed says, don't get off that pressure switch. We need to find something that counterbalances your weight. And Charlie goes, how? Which is like shade, but also
accurate.
But like this is an Indiana Jones moment where you're like,
speaking of Indiana Jones, did you not catch all the Indiana Jones references in this episode?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because there's the bridge that collapses later on.
Yep.
There's him avoiding the swing. When Sawyer is sitting there obviously having a migraine.
Oh, yeah.
He calls Walt Shortstack, which is a character from Indiana Jones. And so there's
That's not what I thought he called him.
What do you think he called him?
Remember I repeated it and nobody made any kind of effort to correct me.
I don't remember you repeating it.
I thought he said something along the like brown stack. I thought he said something about his skin color, and that's why I was like, oh my. That's why I went, oh my god, he called him blah blah blah, and nobody said anything.
I didn't even catch it. No, I didn't even catch you saying that.
Oh, short stack is my. I thought he was making like some kind of racial thing, and that's what I was like. Whoa, I know you're awful, but to a fucking child.
Oh no, yeah, he definitely says short stack. It's like a whole reference to like Indiana Jones because Hurley's going on this journey. Also, they try to establish Hurley as like a nerd. So like making this like an Indiana Jones referenced, like there's multiple beats here, makes sense for Hurley's character.
Yeah.
Especially because you know that like never mind, I was gonna say some stuff. Okay. So Hurley is saved, or he saves himself from the swinging trap. And they continue onward, and they get to this bridge that is like...
That Saeed never saw before.
Yes, because at that point, he would have already been in the trap. And then knocked out, and then taken elsewhere. And
so this bridge
girl
has one bar.
Yeah.
And then the planks of wood, and I still have no idea how, physics work with this.
I honestly don't know either. I also noticed a really weird, I don't know if it's a production error or what. So as Hurley is going across, sorry,
it's the seltzer.
So I referenced this to Beth and them, but there is a scene where Hurley's going across and the line that you would grab to stabilize yourself is weirdly blurred.
Oh, I didn't see.
It's like-
I didn't catch it.
It's like censored as if there's like a product placement there. I
Oh.
bet you that they probably took like an actual cable, like safety cable, and put it across and then try to dress it up.
It was a quick grab that you were like, why is it blurred? And by that time, they'd already changed.
Yeah,
the
I was
camera.
like, to me, it was very clear that they went into After Effects or something into like the censor tool, and like
Gotcha.
for some reason this line of censorship is
It's
just
so
there.
funny.
It's really weird. It's on the DVD. I don't know if it's on like the Hulu version or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Hurley is going across, and he knows that he's going to be okay
Yeah.
because he thinks that bad luck follows him, but it doesn't affect him. So he very quickly and easily, safely gets across this bridge.
And then he gets over to the other side, and they're all like, and then Charlie's like, my turn.
Yeah, he's like, womp, 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 going across.
Yeah. So Charlie goes, and he makes it 95% of the way, and then the bridge collapses.
Yeah.
And he's able to kind of jump, and Hurley grabs him and saves him. So then Jack and Saeed are like, you guys stay there, and we're gonna go try to find another place. And Hurley's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go. You guys stay there.
Yeah.
So Charlie and Hurley make their way into the woods, and Charlie is trying to be like, why are you doing this? What are you looking for? Blah blah blah. Then there's a gunshot that explodes like
Yeah.
a tree next to them, and they just kind of stop and they go.
Is that it?
And then someone goes, was that a gunshot? Which I'm sorry.
That's so silly.
Wait, who asked that? Was that Charlie who asked that? Or was it Hurley?
That was Hurley.
Okay. Hurley, you're fucking American.
Yes.
Gunshots are abundant here. Like, Charlie, I can understand.
I could see him, though, with everything that has happened, and Hurley has not been around any of the guns. He's probably not even aware that there's
No,
as many
I'm
guns.
saying in America.
Yeah, but like in the jungle, he hears something weird, and you're like, wait, was that a fucking gunshot? that
It's
he
not
shot?
that they heard it. They saw
Yeah, I like it's
exploded.
True.
My whole thing is, if you think someone shot a gun, you don't go,
Was that a gunshot?
I say, what a weird noise.
I'm not
Should
used to.
we wait and see if somebody shoots us again? And then another shot comes and they start running, but they split off in two different directions. Charlie runs in one direction, Hurley's running in another. Obviously, the camera goes with Hurley. He falls. When he gets up, he sees the barrel of the gun of Rousseau pointed at him. And he's talking to her and he goes, oh, you're the French lady. And she goes, you're one of the passengers on the plane with Saeed. And he's like, yeah. So he starts talking to her and he says, what did the numbers mean? And she said, I don't know. And he's like, basically has this breakdown.
Oh, he has a full meltdown at
Which-
this point.
I also think is key to potentially him being like in the psychiatric
Okay,
ward. Like,
yeah.
I think that like
I mean,
there's something there.
I wouldn't say that because if I was him in this moment, I would be pissed too.
Oh, I'm not saying-
Well, I'm also. They purposely do this because, like, at this point in the show, when this was first airing, Hurley was the voice of the viewer because there were so many questions and no answers that people were like, I just want fucking answers. Like, stop
Right.
giving us questions. And so
I'm not saying
that's
that
kind of
that's-
like why that's there.
I'm not trying to say like, oh, clearly it's mental illness. What I'm saying is that
Oh, okay.
clearly he shows a pattern of like bottling stuff up.
For sure.
And then like just letting it all out, which a lot of people do. But I wouldn't be shocked if like that ties into some kind of story where like he had bottled something in so much that it drove him to a place where he had
maybe.
to go. So like that's what I'm getting at. Like where he got so obsessed with something or
Yeah.
something. Excuse me. So she lowers her gun and she says, I was on a ship. I heard she heard the numbers, right?
I think so. She was
She
like,
received the transmission.
yeah, they were like a research vessel. They diverted their path in order to go see what this weird transmission was. They crashed.
They crashed. They eventually found where the transmission was, but that's when everybody, I think, basically got sick and died, essentially.
I think she said something wrong along the lines of, we found the radio tower. It was near the Black Rock. And then she's like, but we didn't have time to look into it because all of this other shit started happening, like the sickness and stuff. So I don't know if she was saying like they're going hand in hand. I think she's more so like, we didn't get to figure out what this meant because this other shit we were dealing with at the time.
And then she said that she found a way to like reconfigure the transmission, and then she put her own transmission out there.
Yeah, so the original broadcast is gone.
Yes,
basically.
and like it's dubbed with what she was saying in French in the very like second episode over and over. So, and then he says, she says something along the lines of like something about like or he says something like, I think the numbers are cursed, and that makes her reflect on it, and she's like, you know what, everybody else around me, she was the one that received the transmission, and she's the one I think who made the decision to go towards it. So therefore, like, she's like, nothing's really happened to me but to everybody else. And she said, yeah, I think you're right, I think the numbers are cursed. And like, we get this moment where he just is so relieved
that someone just listened.
Someone is listened and agrees and validates him. And I think we can all agree that we've probably had those moments where we're like, why aren't people just like I can't tell you how many times I'll like have a problem, and instead of someone being like, you know what, that is shitty. I'm so sorry. You're right. And just hearing that sometimes is all somebody really needs. They don't need to have endless advice on like how to tackle something or how to deal with something. Sometimes they just need to be told, I think you're right. And that's it. You know, to feel validated and be felt heard.
It's so interesting too because with specifically Hurley's situation, he comes from a background of like being a burden to his family, and like everyone that he has talked to that is related to the numbers kind of still negates the fact that they're cursed. And we still don't know if they're cursed or not. We don't know if there's like any kind of supernatural element to these numbers, or if it's just all in Hurley's head, or what's going on here. But it is so satisfying to him to know that there is someone who went through shitty stuff related to these numbers that does agree with him. And it's like, what? The look on your face.
I'm trying to connect this to Claire and the psychic, the numbers. And
okay.
I'm going to give you a theory. Okay. She was 4 weeks late.
She was.
When she found out she was pregnant. At 8 weeks, she like moves in or something with her boyfriend.
It's something like that.
Yeah. At 15 days after they find out, she goes to the psychic. Something like that. It was like a couple of days, like, or a couple weeks, I mean. So maybe like 15 days. Maybe at like 23 weeks, her boyfriend leaves her. And so, we missed 16. 16.
It doesn't have to be all of them. It could just be.
But you know
some
what I
of
mean?
them.
Like, so then there's a part of me that's like, if she ends up being 2 weeks late with the baby, that's 42 weeks. So like, but I'm trying to find ways that like, would the psychic have known about the numbers, and maybe like it wasn't so much that he actually saw stuff, but was connecting the numbers to the transmission.
Maybe. Another weird connection that we know of from this episode is that Leonard and Sam Toomey were
also in a ship when they heard it.
Yeah, and it was around the same time frame 16 years ago.
Yes, that's the other thing I forgot. 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the other thing. So they heard the transmission around the same exact time that Rousseau did.
Yep.
Except for Rousseau made a course for it. That's the thing that I had a big reaction. You'll have to put that in the...
Yeah. You're like, oh my God!
16! And then you're like, no. And I went... Rousseau, and you went, oh, yeah. I don't know what you thought I was saying.
Yeah. And so there's that really great validation moment for Hurley. And this is obviously like tethered into his flashbacks where Sam Toomey's wife doesn't agree with them, that these are cursed numbers. And then at the very end, we have this scene with Charlie and Hurley back at the cave, sitting near a fire. And Charlie gives... just really wants to get to know Hurley better, and Charlie tells him about how one of his biggest secrets about how he was doing heroin on the plane, which is something that he's not really told anyone besides Locke.
And he didn't even tell Locke. Locke figured it out. And that Jack knows too, but like that he was like, I couldn't even make it on a flight without a fix. And he's like, I'm that big of a junkie. And then and he says, I just bared my soul to you. You gotta, like, you're not gonna say anything. And Hurley says, fine, back home I'm worth, I think, 156 million.
I think something like that, which is weird.
Which
is weird because I feel like they should have made this more numberified.
It would have been great if they were like 154 like million, and then there's like 15 and 4 together.
Yeah,
although do they have to present in the
not
order?
really.
Okay.
I mean, for the most part they do. They try to do that, but
yeah,
and he doesn't believe him. Charlie doesn't believe him, and that's kind of the end of that Hurley storyline. Now, what? Oh,
no, I was just thinking about it. And the next and the other part of that storyline that we didn't get to is what's going on with Jack and Saeed when they separate, which is they step on something which actually ends up being like a form of a landmine, and it blows up what used to be the bunker, which Saeed deduces, oh, she must have known myself or others would have come back to like find her or like utilize her her stuff essentially, and so it gets blown up, and he's like, oh, she must have left, blah 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 blah, and then they run back into Charlie, and Charlie's like, someone was shooting at us, and blah blah blah. The other thing that we forgot to mention about Hurley is that Hurley gets the battery from Rousseau.
Hurley does get the battery, and Saeed got Nadia's picture back.
That's right. And my favorite part about when he comes back with the battery, he was just like, the French lady says, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to imagine that like Rousseau was literally like, tell Saeed, hey.
Yeah.
Just say hey.
So, or what I think it would have been so much better if Hurley was like, so the French lady said, what up?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Comment ça va? No, comment ça va is what's your name,
I don't
right?
speak French.
I
don't know.
I took 6th grade French, which meant I learned how to say hi.
Love that about you.
So yeah, so that's pretty much the only other parts of that storyline.
Oh, there is a weird moment between Saeed and Shannon that we could.
Nope, that doesn't count in this episode. So
we're like, he caresses Shannon's face.
No, I didn't watch it. It didn't happen.
And it's just it's so cute. I'm kidding.
No, let's talk about the real cute thing.
Oh my God, I basically cried.
So in the beginning, middle of the episode, we see Locke approach Claire on the beach, and she's just kind of sitting there, and he says, hey, how are you doing? She said, good. And she lets slip that she's
she says almost 9 months.
She said, I'm almost 9 months.
So we must have had the timeline wrong.
The producers have the timeline wrong.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I'm 100%.
Why?
Because I'm right.
Oh.
I'm a Leo.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
No. So either we're wrong or this is an oversight on their part.
Maybe.
Here.
I don't know.
So, or like maybe time paused when she was abducted.
I don't know if it's all that. I think it could be a continuity error or we were wrong.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same episode where they blurred out a cable.
It's true.
So basically, he asks if she would help him with a project. She's like, me? And he's like, yeah. And so she comes and helps, and they're putting together what looks like kind of like there's like some spikes, and it looks like a cage and all that kind of stuff. And she's helping like pass some things and like. And
I just want to also point out, we have learned up to this point about Claire that no one looks her in the eyes or asks her to really help or do anything. And so I think this is really nice that Locke is taking it upon himself to like go to Claire, say you are worth something, help me out with this.
And I would like to contrast this with what Charlie does, which is Charlie does look her in the eye and tries to validate her, but he does it in a I need to protect you kind of way, instead of Locke, who's like, you are capable of doing things.
Yeah,
and like that's a very different thing. You have hands, you can help.
Yeah.
So she goes and helps him and passes him different materials and occasionally does like little cutting and like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And then they're chatting, and she tells Locke that she'd been considering giving the baby up.
Yep.
And then she also tells Locke, today is my birthday.
Which I there is something about Locke. I don't know if it's like supernatural or just like the way he carries himself, but everyone seems to bare their soul to Locke. And like, I don't know if it's just because he's just the kind of guy that it's easy to talk to. But like,
well, clearly he has a knowledge about him that you would inherently trust in that kind of situation.
Yeah, because
he's providing for people.
Because Claire like has no problem talking about wanting to give this baby up for adoption, which was clearly a very big pain point for her for a good chunk of her life. So it just seemed kind of, in my opinion, a little weird that she was just like, I was going to give the baby up, like, to this guy that she might not know very well. And I was like, you know what? I think it's more so less a weird character choice for Claire and more of, we're learning more about Locke and how he just is so easy to talk to that people are
I think it's that. And I also think too that we have a different Claire than we had when she was abducted.
That's very true.
And I think
she lost her memory.
She lost her memory.
That's true.
And I think that she's trying to like regain some self, like these were the choices and such that I've made and I need to take ownership of them, if that makes sense. So even if she's not conscious of that, I think that that's like a specific character trait that I've picked up on.
That's true.
Since she's been back, since she got abducted. And I also think too, like I said, Locke is really in tune with the people of the island. He's very in tune with the island itself. And I have been interested as to why we haven't seen too much between him and Claire, because wouldn't you think, as someone who has looked into the eye of the island, as well as somebody who I still have my suspicions of like what side is he really on at the end of the day. Clearly knows something about the hatch, knows other things. Like, why isn't he picking Claire's brain? Why isn't he spending more time with her? And I think this is a perfect opportunity now that like Charlie isn't by her side all the time. Now that maybe it's died down a little bit. So what we end up seeing here at the end is, well, first of all, he says, "It's your birthday. How come you didn't tell anybody?" She goes, we crashed on an island where, you know, all these things have happened. Like, it doesn't really seem that it doesn't matter. It doesn't. And he goes, "I guess you're right." And he had told her it's good luck. It'll be good luck that your baby's birthday will be so close to yours. And she goes, "Do you really believe that?" And he says, "I believe a lot of things," but he didn't confirm that he believed that. But I think that that's a really good, like, Locke's character and the writers give him these wonderful ideas that I like, these one-liners that are so, like, all they do is go, "Ooh,
oh, well, Locke say that."
Oh no, it to me it's like astrology.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
It's like, let's give somebody like something really generic that seems specific, and we're going to. And I'm sorry if you believe in astrology. Like, I actually like have done a lot of looking into astrology over the past year and a half. So like I understand it a little bit more, but it's still like faith based in some capacity at the end of the day, right? Like, you kind of have to believe in it in order for it to be real. And there's these parts of me that like watches Locke and listens to him and is like, if I believe in this stuff connecting to these ways, then it's real that it does, you know? So I think of Locke in that kind of way, where like they give him these generic nuggets of gold that clearly mean something, but we're not going to tell you. We're going to make you think about them for a long time.
Yeah.
That's one of those lines that did it to me.
And then we were.
It's the big reveal of what they're building, and I called it. It was pretty easy.
I forgot that this was a thing.
That was really funny. I literally turned around and go, "Oh my god, are they going to build a crib?"
And I was like, I can't remember
and you're
what
like,
they're building.
And you're like, I don't know what he.
I remember there being a crib, but I didn't realize it was made in this episode. Okay.
So then it's revealed as they put the last couple of wood pieces that are curved on that it's upside down, and he turns it over and it's a cradle.
Yeah.
So that it'll rock, and it was just such a beautiful moment where it was like, let's also think about it this way. Not a single person, including the fucking doctor, has done anything for the baby yet.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like a weird character choice.
If
like,
you were
a writing choice.
If you knew somebody who was going to have a baby soon, you'd be trying to find ways to make the birthing process and the immediate process easier, right? Why aren't people trying to come up with, what are we going to do for diapers? Why aren't people trying to come up with, like, it's going to take a village to raise this baby, right?
For sure.
This isn't just going to be like there's only 42 people and, well, that one has a baby over there. None of us do anything with it.
Yeah.
Also, there's no better unifying factor within, like, such a like thing than a baby. Like so many people are gonna be like, you know what? I kind of want the baby's
Yeah.
cute. I want to hold a baby.
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
so it's just weird to me. Like I do understand why people would look at her like she's a ticking time bomb, but I also feel like why aren't people like
Helping her.
Why
or
aren't
being
people
nice. I don't
like
know.
people are building a boat but they can't fucking build a cradle? Like people are building like
Yeah.
shelters but they can't come up with XYZ for the baby. Like these are the like
Yeah.
no one's put together a bottle. Like
It's-
maybe
it's
she's
also-
gonna breastfeed, but she's malnourished. Like
I
what?
also find it very strange that they can build a giant raft, but they can't build like houses out of bamboo.
Thank you.
Like they're like 30 plus days into this.
Also, Michael's a full-on construction worker, an architect.
It's been like I think like maybe a day since the burning, and they've already constructed the foundations of a raft. Like,
Well, it's because they have Jen helping him this time.
yeah, they're killing
That's
it.
the other thing too that we kind of see glimpses that Jen and Michael are working clearly very well together. Hurley was kind of helping them out, but not so
Yeah.
much. And then you see one look of Sun looking over at their direction.
Yeah, and they talk about she's talking to Kate, and she's like, I don't think he's
'cause
ever going
we
to talk
needed-
to me again.
We needed a generic women talking about men scene because
Well, we do need a little bit of a wrap up. I think that shows that Sun does care about Jen and does want him to
well,
talk to her.
clearly we knew that at the end of last. That's not a wrap up. This was. We didn't do anything for women this episode except for Rousseau.
I disagree.
Let's have Saeed caress Shannon's thing and then like or cheek, and then we're gonna have Kate and Sun talk for 3 seconds. But let's not give the women any more things to do.
No, I agree. I agree with the women's sentiment, but I think the reason for this scene is at the end of In Translation, Sun is shown to have been happy that her and Jin aren't talking right now, and that like there's that scene where she like lets go of the shawl and she's excited and happy about.
I don't think that she's happy that they're not talking.
Well,
I think that she's happy that
that's
there's
true.
the freedom that she finally has.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean she wants the freedom and the ability to talk with the man that she loved and was willing to get on that plane for.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
and that to me was blatantly obvious by the way that she breaks down crying when he walks away from her.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
like what I felt like in this situation was like, sure, I don't care really at the end of the day. Like, but I'm trying to make more of a like, I hate when the only conversation women have together is about love interest with men.
Oh yeah.
That's the issue. We have no sentiment of Kate trying to help Hurley. We have no sentiment of Kate or Shannon helping out with like this quest with the numbers. We have no sentiment like Claire's dependent on Locke in this one. We have Rousseau was the only one with power in this situation as a
Yeah.
woman. Like, I mean, we've talked about this many, many times. I'm just sorely disappointed in the writing of how the women are treated and used in a lot of these episodes, and it's mostly to be a plot point for the men.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's definitely a huge critique of the show for sure.
Yeah.
And I before I forget, I do want to also point out that after we get that entire scene with I'm trying to remember how the lead up to it. No, that's right. It's with Locke in the crib, like the cradle with Claire. There's this like scene where like people are like back on the beach and everyone's just kind of chilling. And then we get this like final scene within the episode. And we kind of see why Locke and Boone they've been kind of returning back to the island because the hatch has been dug up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And
on the side.
Yeah, on the side of the hatch are
it's
the
4,
numbers.
8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
Ooh. So, theories.
Well, I think my theory kind of remains the same, which was that whatever the signal was, or like whatever like forced the boat to crash upon the shore is related to what's in the hatch.
So, what do you think A is in the hatch and B what the numbers are?
I don't have a theory on either of them yet, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think like I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. So that is basically numbers.
Okay.
The next episode is called De Ex Machina, which I think I've already told you who it's the centric episode of.
I think you did. Was this Locke?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think?
I also have to do MVP, LVP when we finish. That's my dishwasher being
That
done.
scared me. What do you think the next episode, and we'll do MVP, LVP after this.
Okay.
What do you think De Ex Machina is about?
Well, Deus Ex Machina is a term in theater, which means like it's basically like it refers to the mechanism within a play that like fixes all the issues and the problems at the end, or is like the meaning. It's like the catharsis for the characters at the end of a show.
Yeah.
But it's not the ending. It is the mechanism by which the ending comes about.
Yep.
So, with that in mind, I would say that this is something about the hatch in particular. I think this is where we figure out not maybe what's in the hatch, but like how to get into the hatch. Like I would see like the end of the episode, the hatch opens or something. I don't think it's like it starts with that or if it's even in the middle. So obviously it's a Locke-centered episode. I'm also interested to see if this now ties into what you mentioned before. If there's like, oh, we have new ownership and their name is Hurley or something like, I don't know, like something along those lines. We haven't had a Locke-centered episode since Walkabout.
That's true.
So I'm interested to see if we get more of a background of what Locke was like. We also still don't have any information about why he was on the phone with what seemingly was some kind of like
Oh,
your
like the
mission.
phone sex.
No. Like when he was in the office, it sounded like he was like on some kind of undercover mission.
Can I just tell you what that was?
Is
Because
it-
you're going down a weird rabbit hole.
Is it not
It
that?
was just them playing Risk. They were like, remember in the lunchroom, they were playing Risk?
And he got that on the phone?
Yeah, it was like him talking to his coworker being like, all right, Colonel. Like, they were like role playing to play Risk.
So lame.
Yeah, you were like going down a weird rabbit hole. I was like, let me just stop you right now. Because that was like the whole point of that. It was like, he's a nerd. And they were like, all right, Colonel, that's what's going on there. And then
Man,
they were like,
I really thought he was some kind of undercover person. Like,
I mean, he
or
still
like,
might be.
Or who had been like injured on like the battle line, so they had to put him in an office.
I think the whole purpose of Walkabout was to show like he was kind of pathetic.
Gotcha.
On like present day, not to say like people
Yeah.
that are into Risk are pathetic. It's just that's kind of how they were showing him. He's
Gotcha.
making a new life for himself on the island.
Gotcha.
And so, De Ex Machina is a lot of people's favorite episode of season 1.
Okay.
It is when you think of Lost season 1 story beats. This is one of the biggest ones.
Okay.
So if you really liked numbers, you are going to fucking love De Ex Machina because
wait.
it forwards the plot so much.
And I think that that's what I'm expecting. Like, I think that we're going to see Locke come into his own more so of like a leader. I think we're going to see, maybe some of the information he knows about the island gets spilled that he's been hiding, like what he means by the eye of the island, like things that he knows. Like that's what I think we're going to expect to see out of his storyline. But I don't know what we're going to see from his past, and that's what I can't wait to see.
Yeah. All right. So who is your MVP and LVP for the episode?
Okay, so I told Dylan this before. This is not my MVP, but as soon as he was making the cradle, I was just like, "Am I gonna make Locke my MVP again?" I'm not going to. I
have my own MVP, but I'm curious who yours will be.
I actually am going to give MVP to Hurley
Okay.
because I just so identify with needing to be validated and that he's so obsessed with getting this known and done and that kind of thing. And also the guilt of feeling like this plane crash was his fault, which I don't think it was. I'm also still in the back of my mind, I'm like, it can't be. There's still some weird shit with Walt, with his powers. Like there's the medium with Claire, but there's some kind of supernatural force. There's whispers. There's all these things. So it's not just him. There's something there. So I just kind of felt like this was his. I almost gave it to Rousseau, to be honest with you.
I almost was like, well, maybe Rousseau would be a good MVP.
I think Rousseau would be great, but she did shoot at them, so I'm gonna go with a no on that one.
Do you think that they were warning shots? I feel like Rousseau is so trained with a gun, she could have killed him.
Well, why not just be like, hey, get the fuck out of here, I'll shoot you.
I don't think she wanted to show her position. Like if you yell at them, they know where the voice is coming from. If you shoot them, they're gonna be like, "What the? Where the fuck is
She
the
still
gunshot?"
has a fucking gun. It doesn't matter where her position is.
Yeah, I think the point is to scare them away. She's like separating them, and then he ran towards her, so she's like, "All right, I'm gonna get the rifle out. You ran the wrong way, buddy." And then I don't know.
I still think it's stupid, but I also don't think that she has any kind of social decorum. So
That's true.
I'm not willing to give it to her, even though she gave up the battery and like validated Hurley. I still think Hurley is the storyteller, and he's a good person in this episode. So I'm gonna go with him. My LVP is gonna go to Shannon. No, just kidding.
That's like, damn, girl.
I'm going to give LVP to Saeed.
Okay. Yeah.
Saeed is just, he is a naysayer to Hurley, to Jack, to the project, to going back there. He is not an effective leader in this situation.
Yeah.
He instantly is trying to pick a fight with Jack over Hurley without getting any information first. You can see that the island's really getting to him. And I will also point out there that clearly Shannon's rubbing off on him. So I think that Saeed is the LVP because he is the force that is trying to hinder Hurley's success in this episode.
All right. Well, that's great. I had so much fun.
Yeah.
We're filming this in person. This was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun.
I wish we could do this again, but sadly we probably will likely not be able to.
Ever again. This is it.
Ever again. This is it, y'all. No. But seriously, thank you all so much for watching this episode of Hot Mess Moments. Again, if you really enjoyed the content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube. It helps us out tremendously. We're almost to 100 subscribers on YouTube, which is amazing.
That's really cool.
And if you are also listening to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, make sure to leave a rating. Make sure to leave a review if you possibly can. A written review helps us out tremendously. And make sure to follow us on Twitter at Hot Mess Moments. And tweet at me, 8-Bit Dylan, if you have any theories about Lost or any fun stories that you want to talk about future elements of Lost. And
you can tweet at me at AugustaWind11 if you have any thoughts about the Nanny, your favorite things in the future, any spoilers that are about the Nanny, send them my way. I don't want to see them spoilers about Lost. You send them to Dylan.
Yeah, and hopefully you enjoyed this episode, this special episode of Hot Mess Moments. We'll be back here again next week with another episode as we cover Deus Ex Machina and Lost and
an ode to Barbara Joan from The Nanny.
Yeah, so see y'all next week. And until then, bye!